And so you can really generate a lot of wealth in your soil by using your own waste, right? It's out of your kitchen and your garden. I'll pass these two around, and I noticed something really weird in our garden. And if you look, this is about it'll be about a month ago when I took those pictures.
Yeah.
And if you look at the row of spinach there, you see that the row of spinach is really fat and high in the middle. And I asked Shelley, I said, hey, you could do something different with that part. And I realized that was the exact spot that my pile of compost had lain for a couple of weeks before I actually got it out. I got it out of the bins, put it in the garden, and it lay there for a couple of weeks before I dug it in. And that's how much faster the spinach grew on that specific spot. Just because there were so many nutrients in that part of the soil. So this is another shot of our cucumber and our garlic bed, and I only have one picture of that. But I noticed people here that are growing garlic, and it's beautiful garlic. Obviously, it's very high. It's almost as high as ours, I guess. But I noticed that people let the seed pods grow. You shouldn't do that. If you're going to harvest your garlic later, you should pinch those seed pods out. And you can actually eat the seed pods. You just cut them up in little chunks and put them in your stir fry and stuff like that. They're really healthy for you too.
You mean the whole scape?
The whole
scape, yeah, the whole thing. Yeah, not and the seed pod. I don't know if you can eat the seed pod. No, but the whole stem part. Yeah, is that what it's called? Scape. Scape. Yeah. So don't let them grow, because once that seed pod starts to grow, it starts taking nutrients out of your bulbs, and then your garlic. Garlic, not bulbs, but the cloves are shrinking, because all the nutrients and all the energy is going back into the propagation of the plant, right? So you want to avoid that.
That would be the same for my shallots that are growing down here. That are starting to get seeds too.
Yep.
To pinch them off.
Because the plant's goal is to make the seeds, right?
Yeah, okay. So I'll pinch them
The
off.
same reason why if you keep your beans picked well, you'll get way more production, because they don't mature. Once they've got some to maturity, they're like, okay, we're done.
Yeah, now the other really good about plants like that, like garlic and shallots and onions and leek and stuff like that, they're the #1 cancer-fighting vegetables that you can eat. If you read the book Anti-Cancer Diet, like all those, the shallots and the onions and the leeks and the garlic, they're all in the top 5. Like, so they're really, eat every part of it if you can, you know. So anyway, what else is on my list here? What's that?
You want to sieve some compost?
Oh yeah, I'm going to sieve some.
How fine would you have to cut up a watermelon to put it in there?
I don't think you have to cut it up at all. You just big chunks, yeah.
Really?
The only thing I really cut up, like as far as food, would be like corn, like the corn parts. So after you take the corn off, chop it up like in 4 or 5 pieces or something like that. Because the more surface area you have for the bacteria and for the critters to eat at, the better it is, right? But watermelon's almost all water.
But I mean the rind.
I mean, I wouldn't eat it.
The rind.
Oh, the rind. Yeah, no, that goes really quick too.
Okay.
Yeah. I have left like almost like 1/8 sections of watermelon in the compost, and they're gone like that.
That's your compost.
Well, a friend of mine, she brought me a chips bag, like a potato chips bag.
Sun chips.
What?
Sun chips.
Sun chips. Anyway, and the bag said it was compostable.
3 years?
Yeah, it was 3 years in my compost, and it never even started to get brittle. And so then I read the fine print on it, and it said you have to have an industrial compost facility, and they said something about the temperature. And obviously, I don't reach those temperatures, so that didn't work.
Speaking of temperatures, you mentioned that about the temperature. You know, it has to be a certain size. What about those black? You know, the black ones that you buy.
Yeah,
in the city?
they're not quite the right size, right?
No, they're smaller.
I don't know. Do they get hot?
They sometimes get hot, and then
they're hard
very
to
unpredictable,
stir,
and you can't get in there and work.
You can't get in it.
I have 3 that I'm gonna go home and build some of those, and I'll give away my 3.
Okay,
I'm putting them in the yard sale.
I have a suggestion too. Like if you want to build compost boxes like that, and you go to the dump every once in a while, they'll allow you to scrounge wood from the dump, you know, and so that's where some of that stuff comes from. The other place to go is you go Devon Lumber, and they have these piles of what they call slabs, and often it's cedar, and they sometimes are like this thick, but they're round on one side, so they can't really sell them. But you can use them for compost boxes. We built nice trellis works out of them too, but compost boxes work good. Yeah, old fences. We just ripped an old fence apart for friends of ours, and we kept a whole bunch of the boards, and we're probably going to make new slat parts for the front. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, I'm going to save this. Any questions about the stuff that I've talked about, I guess?
What should you definitely not put in your compost?
Meat.
Yeah.
Although we put some stuff,
very
little.
little bit.
Eggshells in
Meat?
Eggshells, yeah, eggshells are good.
If it's on a
They're
plate,
good
it's
for, well, you can
not
see, like there's lots of eggshells here. Eggshells are good for more than one reason. For one thing, they put calcium back in the soil. The other thing is, if you have like fine pieces of eggshells on the surface of your garden, they keep snails away. Snails don't like them because they're sharp, they have sharp edges, and so they keep that away. So that's the other reason why you should.
Really, I don't do dairy in my compost, and I don't do meat.
We
in any capacity.
we tried to convince. We're sort of part of the auxiliary at our church, and we tried to convince people every time people cooking like big meals to save all the organics because we love them. And when we're there ourselves, it's easy to do because you just throw them in a couple of bags and you take them home. And you can't let them sit there because it starts to smell and the water starts to drip out and stuff. But if you know people that do stuff like that, and you can get big loads of that, like especially when people cook breakfast, right? There's always tons of eggshells. You mash them up a little bit, you add them to your compost. It doesn't seem to bother the worms, which I'm kind of surprised that they probably.
The only vermin we've ever had a problem with is when we initially built the initial compost box. We were trying to be good recyclers, and we recycled construction. We had some construction bricks that were at our house when we bought it. So the ones with holes in them. So we made those the base of our compost. And before we knew it, we had a really nice snake living in our compost.
Oh, great.
Because we had a family of mice several families of mice living in the bricks. So that's the only problem that we've ever had, and we drowned out the mice and the snake left.
Now, our daughter, she lives in Toronto, and she has two composters like this, two sections, and she had put them all together, and the raccoons kept eating some of the boards, like on the front. And so the last time we were over there, I said, well, you can't use the front anymore, but we just have to wrap it like in chicken wire. So we got some of that.
Well, it's on the same as on the bottom.
Some of this stuff. Some of this stuff. Yeah, and we just wrapped the boxes, and then they haven't bothered since. So I noticed this is not seeded yet. Can I put compost in?
I don't think they'll mind. No. It's Marissa's, and I don't think she's planted that end.
Let's see if this compost. And you see there'll be tons of them. Now, if you
and you could also make compost tea out of it at this stage. So that's basically what happened with that row of spinach. Basically, it got compost tea.
see, okay, these are leaves, last fall's leaves. Okay, so they're almost gone, like they're totally falling apart. Look at all the worms in here. It's crazy. So if like our tomato plants are probably about like that high, some of them. So like when they start setting fruit, you probably want to add some compost to around your plants, right? To feed the fruit. So this pile of compost, probably in another couple of weeks, I'll dig the bottom part of it out, and I'll make some compost, and then we dress it on the top. So this is what that stuff will look like. The problem is it's not very dry right now.